Hey everybody, I'm Ryan. Today, we're going to talk about the place formerly known as Eastweald, the Plaguelands. As with all of the videos, if there's anything in the video you want to learn more about, check links out in the description. I'll be posting links there as I do them. Before it was known as the Plaguelands, the northern parts of Lordaeron were known as Eastweald. Eastweald was composed primarily of fertile foothills. During the Troll Wars, there was a series of forts constructed here to fight against the Amani Trolls by the human kingdom of Arathor, and after the wars, these forts became trading centers. Directed by the necromancer Quel'Thalas, the cult of the damned spread grain infected by a plague, sent by Andorhal, the primary distributor of grain, that turned many of Lordaeron's citizens into undead. When Quel'Thalas was killed by Arthas at Andorhal, a shroud of decay settled over the land, choking it and blocking out the sun. This was supplemented by large plague cauldrons created by Hygen the Unclean. Plants and animals died, and the fertile lands of Eastweald were no more. A great darkness fell over Arthas as he culled the citizens of Stratholme so the plague wouldn't spread any further. His mentor, Uther, and his lover, Jaina, abandoned him, and Arthas began to fall under the sway of the Lich King. Eventually, Arthas would murder his father, the King of Lordaeron, and the northern provinces of Lordaeron would slowly become known as the Plaguelands. Strangely enough, Andorhal was one of the few places in the Plaguelands that was still under Alliance control. Uther and the other surviving Paladins gathered at Andorhal and used it as a staging point to launch attacks against the Scourge. Arthas marched through the Plaguelands, cutting down Paladin after Paladin, including Uther, who had been like a father to him, cut down by Frostmourne. Uther's death meant the end of Andorhal resistance against the Scourge, and the city became underneath Scourge control. Arthas would then march to Quel'Thalas and use the Sunwell to resurrect Quel'Thalas. Some of the undead Scourge would continue shambling through the Plaguelands, and this Scourge invasion, starting with the Plaguelands, was an attempt by the Burning Legion to soften the forces of Azeroth for their invasion. When the Legion was defeated at Mount Hyjal, the Lich King saw it as a way to break from their control. He brought together Arthas, Quel'Thalas, and the rest of the Scourge to take down his Dreadlord handlers, Balmazar, Varimathras, and Deathrock. The demons spread into the Plaguelands and shrouded themselves. As the Lich King grew weaker, energies began bleeding through the crack in the Frozen Throne. His hold on the Scourge weakened. Many undead in the Plaguelands and Lordaeron had their free will returned to them. The Banshee Sylvanas rallied these free-willed undead together, creating the Forsaken, with the goal to eventually kill the Death Knight who was responsible for their undeath, Arthas. In life, Sylvanas had named a human that lived in the Plaguelands, a Ranger Lord, Nathanos Marris. After the Scourge, Nathanos was a mindless undead, roaming the Plaguelands. Sylvanas scoured the Plaguelands to find him, and restored his free will and his strength. A holdout of Paladins in the Order of the Silver Hand continued fighting against the undead Scourge in the Plaguelands, attempting to root them out. When Sylvanas took Lordaeron's capital, the Dreadlord Balmazar fled into the Plaguelands. But without the other Dreadlords, his command over the undead was limited. Balmazar killed a famous Paladin, Saiden Dathrohan, then assumed his form to infiltrate the Paladins. He knew there was one Paladin he could not corrupt, the wielder of the Ashbringer, Nathanos Mograine. So instead, Balmazar corrupted his son, Renault, and had him murder his father. Later, Quel'Thalas recovered Nathanos' corpse and the Ashbringer, and raised him into a Death Knight. Balmazar continued to corrupt the Paladins, until they eventually divided into the Argent Dawn and the Scarlet Crusade. The Scarlet Crusade were total racist fanatics, bent on the destruction of all non-humans, led and corrupted by the disguised Dreadlord Balmazar. Both the Argent Dawn and the Scarlet Crusade fought against the Lich King's influence in the Plaguelands. The Scarlet Crusade made their primary bases in the Scarlet Enclave in the Plaguelands, containing the Scarlet Capital, Tyr's Hand, and the towns of Havenshire and New Avalon, and the Scarlet Monastery in Tirisfal Glades. With those bases, they could attack the Scourge in the Plaguelands and the Forsaken in the Undercity. Darion Mogriane, another of Alexandros' sons, discovered that Alexandros' spirit was captive in Naxxramas. He and many other Argent Dawn attacked the citadel, fighting many of the Lich King's minions, but found that the leader of the Four Horsemen was none other than his father, Alexandros. Nearly all of the Argent Dawn party died, but Darion was able to defeat his father and escape with the corrupted Ashbringer. You could hear his father speaking to him through the Ashbringer, telling him to bring him to his brother Renault. As they came face to face, Alexandros' spirit erupted from the Ashbringer and killed Renault. Darion seeked out Tirion Fordring as a way to release his father's spirit from the Ashbringer. Tirion revealed to him that the only way to free his father's spirit was an act of compassion greater than the evil that defiled the weapon. Darion didn't know what Tirion meant, so he returned to the Argent Dawn in the Plaguelands. An army of Scourge attacked the Argent Dawn in the Plaguelands at Light's Hope Chapel. If the Argent Dawn could not defend it, then the Scourge would get access to all of the heroes lay resting there. Darion realized that the only way to save his father and win the battle was to make the ultimate sacrifice. Then maybe Alexandros could save the Argent Dawn. Darion impaled himself on the Ashbringer, breaking his father out of the sword and waking the spirits below the chapel. Their fury destroyed the invading Scourge, but many had fallen, and the body of Darion Mogriane and the Ashbringer were recovered by the Scourge. As time went on, humans developed mythology and nursery rhymes about the Plaguelands. One nursery rhyme went as such: "Be wary, child, of Plaguelands plain. Be mindful, child, of the infected grain. For if throat is parched and of infected water sip, forever your soul will be in cursed Scourge grip. So heed this warning, child, and if far from mother stray, let light from home hearth guide you back your way." The Plaguelands is also home to Scholomance, which houses a series of crypts and was once owned by the Barav family. The family was convinced by Quel'Thas to donate their crypts to the Scourge, and the Cult of the Damned responded by killing the Baravs and using Scholomance as a school for necromancy, headmastered by Darkmaster Gandling. Because of the conflicts in the Alliance and Horde at Ahn'Qiraj, the Lich King felt like both factions were weakened enough that he could strengthen his position in the Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor. He launched his floating fortress at several locations in order to secure footholds, but the true Scourge power was located in Naxxramas, the primary necropoli, and home to Quel'Thas over the Plaguelands. Bolvar Fordragon recruited Alliance heroes to attack Naxxramas. They defeated the horrors within, killed Quel'Thas, and stopped the Scourge invasion. Soon, Naxxramas began drifting back to Northrend, when the Lich King launched another attack in an attempt to provoke the Alliance and Horde to Northrend in order to kill and raise their faction's greatest champions. They launched a full-scale offensive on New Avalon in the Plaguelands, even personally commanding the Plaguelands. The now Death Knight Darion Mogriane was the Lich King's right hand. The goal was to eradicate the Scarlet Crusade and the civilians within New Avalon. The powerful among them were raised as undead and sent to kill their brethren. When the Scourge were marching to Havenshire, General Abendis claimed to receive a vision from the light, telling her to take her most faithful and journey to Northrend. This became known among the Scarlet troops as the Crimson Dawn. Then the Scourge assaulted the last holdout for hope in the region, Light's Hope Chapel, in order to draw out the powerful paladin, Tirion Fordring. When Tirion finally did appear, so did the Lich King. Enraged that he was used as fodder to draw out Tirion, Darion lashed out at the Lich King, who easily swatted him aside. When the Lich King began draining Tyrion's soul with Frostmourne, Darion resisted the Lich King's will just enough to give Tirion the corrupted Ashbringer. Tirion cleansed the blade with the light and drove the Scourge and the Lich King from Light's Hope Chapel. Most of the Death Knights who participated in the battle, in the process, were liberated from the Lich King's will in this event as well. With this new free will, they formed the Knights of the Ebon Blade and returned to their homes among the Alliance and the Horde, swearing to take down the Lich King. Even after the Argent Crusade defeated the Lich King, and Bolvar Fordragon became the new Lich King to keep the Scourge in check, undead still ravaged the Plaguelands, continuing to follow their old orders. Forces in the Plaguelands battled for control against these undead. Now, the Forsaken hold a significant presence in the Plaguelands, as well as the Argent Crusade, who maintains many basins there, both still attempting to root out the Scourge. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was informative about the Plaguelands. If you liked it, be sure to check out my Twitter, be sure to check out the Discord, and of course, my wife and I stream on Twitch pretty much every day / night, and I would love if you guys checked us out there as well. All those links are above me and below in the description. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.